It's the one time of year the Birch Gold Group gives away free gold with every qualifying purchase. That's right, for Black Friday, when you convert an existing IRA or a 401k into a tax-sheltered IRA in gold, the Birch Gold Group will send you free gold to your home for every $20,000 it's purchased. Gold started this year around $2,600 an ounce. By October, it was over $4,000 an ounce. Why, you ask? Well, you can blame global uncertainty. 2025 has been defined by trade wars. Central banks are even pulling from the U.S. dollar as a global reserve currency, and the military tension that we're seeing around the world, well, it continues to build. Gold thrives in times of uncertainty, though. If you're looking to diversify your savings, the Birch Gold Group can help. Plus, now through November 30th, get free gold with a qualifying purchase. Just text the word America to the number 989898 to claim your eligibility and for a free information kit on gold. But your opportunity for free gold with purchases ends on November 30th. So don't wait. Instead, grab your phone right now and text the word America to the number 989898 for full details. President Trump and presumably the First Lady will head south this evening. Hi, everyone. I'm Terrence Bates. Thursday, however, they were together at the White House for the signing of the president's latest executive order, which creates jobs for young people who are aging out of foster care. The order also creates access to health care and food security for those young people.
Too many people from foster care community end up homeless, in danger on America's streets. It was 2021 when I developed the idea to establish an impactful platform with an important mission to provide individuals from the foster care community the ability to secure an entry-level job position and, in turn, financial independence.
President Trump says under this new initiative, American companies and institutions will sign pledges to invest in teaching, training, and mentoring America's youth. That's a quick check of your headlines.
The next great awakening is here. Welcome back to the Charlie Kirk Show.
All right, history, economics, the great works of literature. Did you study these things in school? Probably not, but even if you did, it's probably time for a refresher course. Let the good folks at Hillsdale College help you out. They are offering more than 40 free online courses. 40. Charlie took 31, right, Mikey?
Yep.
31. He got through 31 of those 40 courses, which is a commitment.
Well, no. He did the 31 when there was only 31. He did all of them.
Oh, wow. Okay, I didn't realize that. So now they're up to 40, including their newest course on totalitarian novels. In this free 8-lecture course, you'll learn from Hillsdale College president Dr. Larry Arnn as he goes in-depth on 4 novels, 1984, Brave New World, Darkness at Noon, and That Hideous Strength. Even though these novels were written in the 1930s and 40s, they're still relevant today, probably more so than ever. They show us that faith, family, friends, and this country are still worth fighting for. Maybe you read these books long ago in school. Maybe you've heard others talk about them, and they seem a little intimidating. They don't have to. Let Hillsdale College help you make the most of them. Go right now to charlie4hillsdale.com to enroll. That's charlie4hillsdale.com to register. It's totally free, 100% free. It's charlie4hillsdale.com. We love Hillsdale over here. All right, next up we have Jonathan.
How goes?
Hey, Jonathan, how you doing?
Doing great. So I have 2 questions that are very related. Has the speakers for AmFest 2025 been finalized?
It's never finalized.
It's never finalized.
There's more coming.
There's more coming. Lots
And you
of new
invite Girls Gone Bible.
We did. Yeah, we did invite them.
You did.
And they're supposed to come last year, too, but it didn't.
I noticed that. Yeah, I remember.
Yeah, it didn't work out logistically. But yeah, we did invite them.
There's some big speakers yet to be announced that I think that will make people very excited.
We're always working on speakers, too, up to
until the last minute.
I think last year with President Trump, Charlie booked him like
a couple days
before.
Well, that's
literally.
Oh, wow. That's great.
Yeah. A lot revolves
his schedule is crazy.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
a lot revolves around the president, and then sometimes these things are last minute, sometimes they're intentionally last minute. But there is I think a number of different people that will be very interesting, and we're sold out. So it's people are now buying these things on the third market. Right?
Oh, good. I'm glad to hear that.
No, I got them. There were only 2% left available when I got them, and I was very pleased to get them.
Oh man,
well, we're looking forward to meeting you at AmFest
exactly.
in person.
Yep.
All right. Thank you, Jonathan. We'll see you at AmFest. And
definitely.
And
if you ride a horse to AmFest, then we'll let you in.
Ride a horse. It's very Western.
Very
Hi, how are you?
Hi, Ann. What's your question?
First, I wanted to say how great you guys are doing, and I'm really happy that you're continuing the show. I know how tough it must be because it's hard for all of us who are fans for a long time of Charlie. Yeah. What I'm concerned about is I've been noticing this week, and you've talked about it, I've heard it on other podcasts, that there are some things that I think are fair to say that the White House has been making missteps with the base and the younger viewers in particular. And I think that really shows Charlie's absence, because I feel like he would have had some influence on it, and he could have conveyed the base, kind of the way he did with the Epstein thing. He could have conveyed the base's position and perhaps been listened to. And I'm wondering what TPUSA feels that it can do without Charlie, and what it is doing to continue its influence with the White House and Congress to explain what the base and the younger voters want. And I'm also wondering who TPUSA feels it has and who the government has to speak to the youth vote and successfully convey that to the government.
Yeah, can we play clip 353 again of JD Vance?
We certainly can.
Yeah, this is because this helps answer that question. If we can play 353.
A lot of young people are saying housing is way too expensive. Why is that? Because we flooded the country with 30 million illegal immigrants who were taking houses that ought by right go to American citizens. And at the same time, we weren't building enough new houses to begin with, even for the population that we had. So what we're doing is trying to make it easier to build houses, trying to make it easier to build factories and things like that so that people have good jobs. We're also getting all of those illegal aliens out of our country, and you're already seeing it start to pay some dividends.
So, Anne, love your question, because it also is my question every single week, is what can the administration do for young people now that Charlie's gone, because Charlie was our biggest advocate. And I think JD Vance has been kind of the mouthpiece for that in honoring Charlie, both in that interview that he just did, but also looking back to Ole Miss just a couple of weeks ago with, Vice President Vance and Erica Kirk, too. And at Turning Point, we're continuing the work. But the biggest thing, and Charlie said this all the time, we talked about in hour one of today's show, is the biggest thing to help young people in the short term is deportations to drive costs down. H-1B. Yeah. And so JD Vance understood everything that Charlie stood for when it came to young people, and I think he's doing a pretty incredible job.
JD has stepped up in a huge way to be that. And I think a lot of people, we had Chris Rufo on last week who was saying that JD is basically the guy that can really, do that. He can sort of, unite some of these warring factions within the conservative movement. But I would say this also. Remember that President Trump, time and time again, when he'll send up little trial balloons, right? And he'll kind of float ideas, and you never know what 3D chess he's playing. For example, with the Chinese thing, that a lot of people got riled up about 600,000 Chinese visas. I would be one of them. However, 2 days later, Kash Patel says, we've just struck a deal with the Chinese Communist Party to stop all these precursors to fentanyl coming in the country, which, by the way, if you really care about young people, you want to make sure that 100,000 young people every year aren't dying of fentanyl overdoses. And so you gotta. I really do believe that we have to trust a couple things here. And Charlie would have said the same thing. He said the same thing. We were bombing Iran, right? He said, I trust President Trump. I believe that he's got the best interests at heart of the United States and for our people. And that includes young people. But he's got a lot of competing interests. So we have to keep yelling and screaming and making our voices heard. And I just want to, tell you one last thing here, is a lot of those relationships that Charlie was so good at within the admin, within the conservative movement, working and talking to and texting and all this back channeling stuff that was happening. I will just tell you that a lot of those people, when Charlie was assassinated, they ended up coming to a lot of us. And I know Tyler's in comms with a bunch of them. Mikey's in comms. I'm in comms. Erica's in comms. And so those those relationships remain intact in some really important ways. And we're certainly still making our voices heard, and we're still making sure that the things that Charlie was fighting for, this Gen Z economic moonshot, this revival for the economics of young people, making sure that they have a stake in the American dream, those conversations are still going. And one last thing, when you talk about deportations, all this stuff, you got to understand we are climbing out of a hole that's very, very deep. And why? Because we flooded our economy with cheap money. We deficit spent for a generation. And when you do that, it debases the currency. It inflates asset prices like homes, stocks, 401ks. And that's good for economic incumbents, people that already have skin in the game. It's really bad for people trying to get into the economy as a first rung on that economic ladder. So
Yeah.
You say we deficit spent for a generation, Andrew. Like we're not still deficit
wow, that's a
spending
good
like
point.
crazy.
It's a fair point, and that's a fair point, and that's another debate that we're having on the right. Correct, Blake? That what are we doing with some of this tariff revenue? Yeah, some $2,000 dividend check would be great, but we really do have to focus on this debt and this deficits, and there's the budget hawks in D.C. are getting drowned out right now.
It doesn't buy
It's
you
bad.
a house.
I mean, you basically, I worry truthfully that we're kind of getting into more and more of a like delusional state on it. Like it didn't blow up in our face as quickly as people predicted. And so you have a lot of people who say deficits don't matter. I think Cheney said that. Now you have modern monetary theory, which is a somewhat, well, it's very modern. We can say that you can just print money forever and there's actually no downside to it. All I will say is there are many countries that have attempted that, and I don't know of any that have gotten away with it. So,
Well, and I want to remind everyone too, I don't know if we've done a good enough job of this. I don't know if the administration has done enough of this, and they need help, right? They need all of our help to say, remember when we were coming into this Trump administration that the word on the street was that we were heading into a massive recession, the biggest one since, the Obama recession, and that was going to happen, and that the entire economy was going to crash, that the stock market was going to crash. Remember all this that was happening at the beginning of last year? And we have to give credit where credit's due, is that the Trump administration stabilized that situation. And of course, we still have massive problems for young people on how affordability is going to look for the next 2 decades.
Yeah.
The question you have to ask yourself is, are you going to trust the Trump administration turn into maybe a JD Vance administration to fix that? Or are you going to trust more of the Joe Biden style policies and Gavin Newsom and Mom Donnie to do that for you? Because the answer is going to be no. We just have to make that pitch very clear.
We have a new clip here, apparently. Let's see here. I'm seeing 2 clips. 387 or 388?
387.
The White House wants to cut a bunch of red tape, especially the kind that holds up houses from being built, with the argument being that the current housing inventory has been flooded for several years with illegal immigrants. New houses plus deportations could free up a lot of existing homes and apartments, according to Vice President Vance.
Yep.
That's from this morning.
Yeah, new report this morning. So I think we're getting there. The message is getting through. I mean, I'm telling you, this was a pivot from a messaging standpoint that was pretty dramatic. Wouldn't you agree, Tiffany?
Yeah, and I just want to say the most important thing that we can do for young people in America is to empower them to vote and to get their friends to vote. I mean, and to run for office, right? I mean, that is truly how long-term we're going to be able to have better policies for the future of families in America.
Yeah, you got to vote. Got to get out and vote. Thank you so much, Ann. Next up is Gina, I believe. Yeah, Gina. Welcome to the Charlie Kirk Show. What's your question?
Thank you, guys. Just wondering what your thoughts are on, I've seen lately them talking about the USS Liberty, and I was just curious what some of your feedback is on some of that history.
I can talk about that.
Great. Thanks,
so
Blake.
those who, if you haven't heard about it, the USS Liberty was an incident in the late 1960s where it was a kind of U.S. like spy ship, sort of a signal monitoring ship. It would sit in international waters and it would monitor communications. And we'll probably have to continue into the break on this. People ask about this all the time. And during the 6-day war between Israel and its Arab neighbors, it was near Israel and Egypt monitoring the situation. And it gets attacked by Israeli fighter jets. It's strafed, and I think it's hit by a few bombs or torpedoes. And about 34 U.S. sailors actually are killed. Several hundred are wounded. Now, that's a good number, but it's during the Vietnam War, so it's, when we're having a lot of military casualties. And it's brought up a lot today. Charlie, notably, he would get trolled with attacks, or not attacks, with questions about the USS Liberty from Groypers around 2019. And he would get a lot of questions about it, and it's complicated, so we have 15 seconds here. I'll continue this once we get into the commercial break.
We'll keep
that
going.
Does deserve a real answer.
Yeah, we'll keep going in the commercial break to continue answering Gina's question. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.